The world respects what it cannot control. And one of the most powerful realizations a human being can ever have is this: peace is not weakness, silence is not fear, and emotional control is not surrender. The Stoics understood something most people never learn until pain forces them to see it. The calmer you become, the more untouchable you are. Not because life stops attacking you, but because nothing can reach the center of who you are anymore. Most people spend their lives reacting. Reacting to insults. Reacting to rejection. Reacting to betrayal. They wake up each day handing the world permission to dictate how they feel. A stranger's opinion ruins their mood. One failure destroys their confidence. One disappointment makes them question their value. But the Stoic becomes dangerous the moment they stop giving the outside world control over the inside world. There is a kind of strength that does not shout. A kind of power that does not seek attention. And once you understand it, you stop chasing validation from people who cannot even validate themselves. You begin to walk differently. Speak differently. Think differently. Because your peace is no longer negotiable. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and join this growing community of thinkers, warriors, and disciplined minds. Every video here is designed to strengthen your mind, sharpen your emotional control, and help you become the kind of person the world cannot easily break. The first lesson is this: never reveal all of yourself. One of the biggest mistakes people make is over-explaining their thoughts, emotions, plans, and intentions to everyone around them. They speak too soon. They trust too quickly. They expose their dreams before those dreams are strong enough to survive criticism. And then they wonder why people suddenly start doubting them, discouraging them, or secretly competing with them. The Stoics believe that silence protects energy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly that it is not necessary to share every thought. Weak people crave attention because they need constant reassurance. Strong people move quietly because they understand that not every eye deserves access to their soul. When you become more private, people lose the ability to manipulate you. They cannot attack what they do not understand. They cannot sabotage what they cannot predict. And that silence becomes your shield. The less people know about your inner world, the more control you maintain over your life. Some people will call you distant. Others will call you mysterious. Let them. You are not here to perform your life for an audience. You are here to build a life so disciplined and peaceful that no opinion can shake it. The second lesson is emotional mastery. Most people are slaves to emotion without realizing it. Anger controls them. Fear controls them. Jealousy controls them. They say things they regret because they cannot control their temper. They ruin relationships because they cannot control insecurity. They destroy opportunities because they cannot control fear. But the Stoic understands that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent rulers. You do not become untouchable by eliminating emotion. You become untouchable by refusing to let emotion make your decisions. When someone insults you, pause. When someone betrays you, pause. When life humiliates you, pause. In that pause lies power. Because reaction is weakness when it is uncontrolled. Anyone can explode. Anyone can scream. Anyone can lose control. But remaining composed while chaos surrounds you is rare. Imagine how dangerous you become when nothing can provoke you into destroying yourself. Imagine how powerful your presence becomes when people realize they cannot emotionally manipulate you anymore. Calmness unsettles emotional people because it exposes their lack of discipline. There will be moments where anger burns inside your chest. Moments where pain demands revenge. Moments where disappointment tries to poison your spirit. But every time you choose discipline over impulse, you become stronger than the version of yourself that existed yesterday. And that is the real battle. Not against the world. Against yourself. Subscribe to the channel if you are committed to mastering your mind and becoming mentally unstoppable. Because in a world addicted to emotional chaos, discipline has become a superpower. The third lesson is learning to walk away without explanation. This is one of the hardest skills in modern life because people are conditioned to seek closure from those who hurt them. They want answers. Apologies. Validation. They want the other person to finally understand their pain. But Stoicism teaches something colder and wiser. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. Not every battle deserves your energy. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is quietly leave and never look back. When someone disrespects you repeatedly, leave. When an environment destroys your peace, leave. When people constantly drain your spirit, leave. Stop trying to convince toxic people to value you. Stop exhausting yourself trying to heal people who enjoy hurting others. The moment you realize your peace is more valuable than being understood, your life changes forever. There is a brutal truth most people avoid. Some people enjoy chaos because chaos gives them control. They provoke reactions because your emotional instability feeds their ego. But when you stop reacting, when you stop chasing explanations, when you silently detach, their power disappears. Walking away is not weakness. It is self-respect. Lions do not waste energy arguing with vultures. They simply continue walking. And yes, there will be loneliness in this transformation. When you stop tolerating disrespect, many people will disappear from your life. Some friendships will end. Some relationships will collapse. Some people only loved the version of you that tolerated pain quietly. But losing fake connections is not loss. It is freedom. The fourth lesson is accepting suffering without becoming bitter. This is where most people fail. Pain changes them. Betrayal hardens them. Failure poisons them. Instead of becoming wiser, they become resentful. The Stoics understood that suffering is unavoidable, but bitterness is a choice. Life will hurt you. That is guaranteed. You will lose people you love. You will experience rejection. You will face humiliation. There will be nights where your chest feels heavy with disappointment and mornings where motivation disappears completely. But your suffering can either destroy you or refine you. Fire can burn gold, but it also purifies it. Every painful experience contains a hidden lesson. Every betrayal reveals who was never truly loyal. Every failure exposes weakness that needs discipline. Every lonely season forces you to discover who you are without distractions. And perhaps the most dangerous thing about a Stoic mind is this: pain no longer scares them. Because they know pain is temporary, but the wisdom gained from enduring it lasts forever. People become untouchable when they stop fearing hardship. When rejection no longer stops them. When criticism no longer controls them. When setbacks no longer define them. The world loses power over you the moment you realize survival is proof of strength. You have already survived things you once thought would break you completely. Remember that. There were nights you thought you would never recover. Moments you believed your life was falling apart. Yet here you are. Still breathing. Still fighting. Still becoming stronger. That is not weakness. That is resilience forged through suffering. The fifth lesson is refusing to chase attention. Modern society rewards noise. People compete for visibility, validation, and applause. They want everyone to notice them. Everyone to admire them. Everyone to approve of them. But the Stoic understands something deeper. Attention is temporary. Respect is earned through character. A person obsessed with attention becomes controlled by the opinions of strangers. They constantly shape-shift to gain acceptance. They lose authenticity because they fear rejection. But when you stop needing external validation, you become free. Freedom begins when your self-worth is no longer tied to applause. You do not need to announce every achievement. You do not need to prove your value constantly. You do not need everyone to understand your journey. Quiet growth is still growth. Some of the strongest people alive move in silence. No bragging. No desperate need for recognition. Just discipline, consistency, and inner confidence. And strangely enough, the less validation you seek, the more magnetic you become. Because confidence without arrogance is rare. People are drawn toward those who do not desperately seek approval. There is power in becoming emotionally self-sufficient. In being able to sit alone without feeling empty. In building a life that does not depend on public applause. The sixth lesson is controlling your mind before the world controls it for you. Most people consume endless negativity every day without realizing the damage it causes. They feed their minds with fear, comparison, outrage, gossip, and distraction. Then they wonder why anxiety dominates their lives. Your mind is like soil. Whatever you plant repeatedly will grow. If you constantly feed your mind insecurity, insecurity will grow. If you constantly feed it anger, anger will grow. But if you feed it discipline, wisdom, patience, and clarity, your entire life begins to change. Stoicism teaches the importance of guarding the mind carefully. Because external chaos becomes internal chaos when left unchecked. Protect your peace aggressively. Be selective about the people you allow close to you. Be careful what you consume daily. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every argument deserves your participation. The strongest minds are not constantly distracted. They are focused. Intentional. Calm. Imagine waking up each morning without needing drama to feel alive. Imagine becoming so mentally disciplined that negativity cannot easily enter your spirit anymore. That is rare strength. And the truth is, most people will never reach that level because distraction is easier than self-discipline. Escaping through entertainment is easier than confronting inner emptiness. Complaining is easier than improving. But you are here because part of you knows you were meant for more than emotional chaos and mental weakness. Subscribe to the channel and continue this journey with us. Because mastering your mind may be the most important battle you ever fight. The final lesson is becoming comfortable alone. This is the lesson that transforms people completely. Most humans fear solitude because solitude forces them to confront themselves. Without noise, distractions, relationships, or attention, they are left alone with their thoughts. And many people are terrified of their own minds. But the Stoics viewed solitude differently. Solitude was not punishment. It was training. When you learn to enjoy your own company, the world loses one of its greatest weapons against you: loneliness. People settle for toxic relationships because they fear being alone. They tolerate disrespect because silence feels uncomfortable. They cling to unhealthy environments because they cannot stand solitude. But once you become emotionally comfortable alone, you stop accepting less than you deserve. Solitude teaches clarity. It reveals your true thoughts without outside influence. It strengthens independence. It forces emotional maturity. And eventually, something extraordinary happens. You stop begging for connection. You stop fearing abandonment. You stop chasing people who do not value you. Because your peace becomes enough. This does not mean you stop loving people. It means your happiness no longer depends entirely on them. You can love deeply without losing yourself. You can care without becoming emotionally dependent. That is true freedom. A dangerously untouchable person is not cold-hearted. They simply understand boundaries. They know how to protect their energy. They know how to remain calm in chaos. They know how to suffer without collapsing. And most importantly, they know their worth without needing the world to constantly confirm it. There is something powerful about becoming emotionally unshakable in a world designed to keep people reactive. Everyday society encourages impulsiveness, outrage, comparison, and insecurity. People are constantly manipulated through fear and distraction. But the Stoic walks through the noise with inner stillness. And that stillness becomes power. You begin noticing how predictable emotional people are. How easily they are controlled by praise or criticism. How quickly they collapse when life becomes uncomfortable. And instead of judging them, you become more committed to strengthening yourself. Because discipline is built daily. Not in one dramatic moment. Every time you choose silence over pointless arguments, you grow stronger. Every time you choose patience over anger, you grow stronger. Every time you choose self-respect over chasing toxic people, you grow stronger. Every painful season becomes training for the mind. And slowly, almost quietly, you become someone life can no longer easily destroy. The truth is, becoming untouchable is not about domination over others. It is mastery over yourself. That is the real victory. Anyone can control others through fear. But controlling your own thoughts, impulses, and emotions requires extraordinary discipline. That is why so few people achieve it. Most people spend years trying to change the world while refusing to change themselves. They blame society, family, bad luck, and circumstances for every failure. But Stoicism teaches radical responsibility. Focus on what you can control. Release what you cannot. That simple principle can transform your entire existence. You cannot control whether people betray you. But you can control whether betrayal makes you bitter. You cannot control criticism. But you can control whether criticism defines your confidence. You cannot control hardship. But you can control whether hardship strengthens or weakens your character. And in those choices lies your power. There will always be people who misunderstand you. People who project their insecurities onto you. People who dislike your growth because it reminds them of their own lack of discipline. Let them. You were not born to spend your life convincing others to appreciate your value. Some people will only respect you after they lose access to you. Some will only understand your worth after your silence replaces your presence. And that is not your burden to carry. A Stoic does not waste life chasing acceptance from people determined to misunderstand them. Instead, they focus inward. They build themselves quietly, patiently, relentlessly. There is a different kind of confidence that emerges when you survive pain without becoming cruel. When life hardens you, but your heart still remains disciplined instead of hateful. That is rare. Many people mistake emotional numbness for strength. But true strength is feeling pain deeply without allowing it to corrupt your spirit. You can be kind without being weak. You can forgive without reconnecting. You can love people while still protecting your peace. And once you understand that balance, you become emotionally untouchable. Because now your boundaries are built from wisdom, not fear. The older you become, the more you realize peace is wealth. Not money. Not status. Not applause. Peace. The ability to sleep at night without hatred poisoning your thoughts. The ability to sit alone without feeling empty. The ability to remain calm while others panic. The ability to lose everything and still believe in yourself. That is wealth the world cannot steal. And ironically, people who achieve this level of inner peace become magnetic. Not because they try to impress others, but because calm energy stands out in a chaotic world. People trust those who remain composed under pressure. People admire those who do not seek validation desperately. People feel the strength of those who have suffered quietly and still carry themselves with dignity. You do not need to announce your power. Presence reveals it naturally. There is a reason ancient Stoic teachings continue surviving thousands of years later. Human nature has not changed. People still struggle with anger, fear, ego, insecurity, and suffering. The external world evolves, but the internal battles remain the same. And every generation must decide whether it will be ruled by emotion or strengthened through discipline. Right now, most people are mentally exhausted because they are constantly overstimulated. Their attention is fragmented. Their peace is fragile. Their identity depends on external approval. But the Stoic chooses a different path. A slower path. A quieter path. A stronger path. A path where discipline becomes identity. And yes, that path can feel lonely at times. Because growth often separates you from people who are committed to comfort. When you stop gossiping, some people feel uncomfortable around you. When you stop reacting emotionally, others lose influence over you. When you stop seeking validation, insecure people may even resent you. But never shrink yourself just to remain accepted by emotionally immature people. Keep growing. Keep healing. Keep mastering your mind. One day, the same pain that almost destroyed you will become the reason you are stronger than everyone who once underestimated you. And perhaps the greatest Stoic lesson of all is this: life becomes lighter when you stop fighting reality. So many people suffer twice. First from the pain itself, then from resisting the fact that pain exists. They ask why this happened to them. Why life feels unfair. Why people disappoint them. Why suffering exists. But suffering is part of being human. The Stoics did not waste energy demanding an easier life. They prepared themselves to become stronger humans. That perspective changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of collapsing under pressure, grow through it. Instead of becoming consumed by darkness, become disciplined enough to carry your own light. Because eventually, the goal is not to avoid hardship. The goal is to become someone hardship cannot easily destroy. And when you reach that point, something shifts inside you forever. You stop fearing rejection because you know your value. You stop fearing solitude because you enjoy your own company. You stop fearing criticism because your self-respect matters more than opinions. You stop fearing pain because you survived worse before. That is what makes someone dangerously untouchable. Not arrogance. Not aggression. Inner control. A calm mind in chaos. A disciplined spirit in suffering. A peaceful heart in a cruel world. And if this message reached you at the right moment in your life, take it seriously. There is a stronger version of you waiting on the other side of discipline. A wiser version waiting on the other side of pain. A calmer version waiting on the other side of emotional mastery. Do not waste your suffering. Use it. Let heartbreak teach you boundaries. Let failure teach you resilience. Let loneliness teach you self-respect. Let silence teach you clarity. And let discipline transform you into someone the world can no longer manipulate easily. Subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom, deep psychological insights, and powerful lessons that strengthen your mind and transform your life. Your journey toward inner mastery starts now.